to protect your soul.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our VSG Power Series 2. Alright, we're doing the elimination race today and we're looking at category D with the ladies as well. So maybe Yijun. So he's Yijun, I'm Ryan and we're your commentators today. Alright, and let's take a look at the start list. We have about 4 minutes to the race, so let's see who are the contenders.
Yes, so let's pull up the start list now. So firstly, we have Nigel from Cycling Training CC. Javier, so Javier is not from VSG Academy, so Javier is on his own. I think there's a typo there. John from VSG Academy, Justin from VSG Academy, Elvis from VSG Academy together with Rudra, Jaden as well. And for the ladies, we have Jillian from FNB Racing, Elizabeth Chung on her own, Chelsea from CTCC, Dina, Jennifer, and Doreen from CTCC as well.
So we have quite a stacked start list and it's quite varied as well, right? Because this is, I think, one of the larger fields because we're combining both the Cat D racers and the ladies as well. Yeah. So fun fact, in the previous series I raced with Cat D, but unfortunately I got promoted, so tired. But at least I get to, a little bit of insider info, having raced with these, some of them before.
Yeah.
So in the elimination, maybe Eugene, you'd like to explain how the elimination will work?
Okay, so as you can see on the bottom part of the screen, these are the elimination points. So the white color one is the number of laps that has been started. So the first 4 laps is the neutral lap. So each lap is about 2.5, 2.4 km long. So after doing 4 laps of neutral, they can start doing the elimination from the 5th lap onwards. But it doesn't mean that they have to stay together, they have to wait for each other. They can just break away and go all out. So it's all about strategy. So we have actually a big team here from Cycling Training CC, so I'm not sure whether will they pull off any tactics or whether will the VSG Academy kids bring any surprise to the show today, but we'll see how it goes.
And I guess that also opens up the way for a lot of variation in tactics, right? Whether you keep it as a bunch and then you just sprint every lap, or some people try to break away and then they can ease up after that because they have that buffer. But the key thing is, I think, different from last year. Last year we had the National Championship Series, and the difference is that instead of having 1 elimination each lap, it's 2, right? And the elimination points are actually from the halfway mark onwards.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think the interesting thing is last year we had to do it visually. So whenever somebody go past the banner, then we check. But that's, to be honest, quite tiring, and if we really want to scale this up, it's gonna take forever if we want to look at them visually. So this year we have Training Peaks Virtual, who does the elimination on our behalf, and for each of the lap, from the green color sticker onwards, they're gonna be eliminating 2 riders per lap. So the last 2 riders will be eliminated.
So let's talk a little bit about the course. Alright, so I think Yijin mentioned it's quite short per lap. It's about just over 2.5 kilometers.
Correct.
Right, and you can see that there is some elevation, but actually it's not that much. Only about 13 meters elevation per lap, so it feels pretty much flat. So that kind of evens out the playing field. In fact, may give a slight advantage to some bigger, heavier riders as well.
Correct.
Yeah, so ladies, you have a slightly tougher job, but I'm sure you guys can do it as well, right? Give the men a good run for their money as well.
Yes. So anyway, on the list itself, I think there's an error in the name, so it's a system glitch. So Grim02, I think it's not supposed to be Grim, but the name just got stuck. So we're getting confirmation who is Grim02 now.
Yeah, so if you look at the name list, actually the numbers correspond to the bike number that they have live in studio. So you may see some of their faces, I think, currently on screen as well. Yeah, so you get to... So the names may not be exactly as is, but we know who they are, and then it will all be handled by Training Peaks.
Okay,
we are 10 seconds from the start. Time to see what happens in at the opening gate. Do you think they'll hit it with a hard sprint, or do you think it'll be a steady pace neutral?
I think it could be a steady pace neutral.
Right, and we are off. Okay, and let's see how it plays out. We can hear the bunch is going hard. They are pushing. Alright, and we already have a slight break at the start. Nigel and Elvis pushing hard. You can see there's a slight downhill and they're already hitting 50 km per hour virtually. So there is a little bit of draft effect. Maybe they want to break away early and then get some separation so that they have a buffer. And then they put the pressure on the people behind to chase before the elimination point.
Yeah. And then I think now everyone is still going together somewhat. Okay, we'll see whether anybody will attempt any breakaway, but I think we have actually some shredders at the back already.
Alright, so let's talk about some of the favorites from the pre-race poll. So actually, if you watched Instagram over the last few days, right, there was some pre-race favorites who were voted to win. I think Nigel, who we are currently viewing, is one of them. But maybe Ijin, you want to talk about the rest of them? I think they're all ladies, right? Actually.
Yeah, so actually we did a poll yesterday, both on our Instagram as well as our WhatsApp chat, and we asked who do you think is the winner, okay, number one winner for Cat D, and I think the poll came out to be Jennifer Choi to be one of the top choices. Then we have actually Nigel Tam, followed by Doreen, Dina and Chelsea. So all very close to each other. They are all together in terms of standard. So we'll see actually how it goes for them. Actually, we just got confirmation that there is actually another error in the name. It's just a system glitch because Training Peaks are still changing their system. So we have Elizabeth Cheng, who is Yiming09. So Elizabeth is one of the new rider that's joining VSG. She actually studies in UK, so it'll be interesting to see how she fares.
Yeah. So we have a quite varied field. Hopefully it'll be interesting. We already have a small gap. I think Rudra is starting to fall a little bit behind, but nonetheless everyone else is still ahead. Although we do, and I think on the Training Peaks interface, right, we can see actually what the gaps, what the groups like. Quite similar to actually a live broadcast of the normal cycling race that you'll see, like the Tour de France.
Yeah. So we are hearing some shouting from outside. We don't know what they're shouting about.
Maybe some team tactics, some
Maybe.
competition, right? Because I think the riders, they're not grouped together like, oh, just because you're teammates, you're like next to each other, but you could be across the room. And there are no like comms, radios or anything, so it's down to just shouting across and hopefully you're heard.
Yeah.
Right? And that adds to the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, so I think we see Justin from VSG Academy and Nigel Tam at the front. So followed by Grim. Grim is actually Javier Chai. There's an error in the name, so Grim is Javier. Followed by Jen, Doreen, Dina, Chelsea, Jillian, and John. And there's a few others behind as well.
So it seems like the heavy favourites are towards the front.
Correct.
Right?
So if you look at the top left hand corner, 2.2 km, they are almost finishing their first lap. They're gonna reach the banner soon. We're gonna see that probably, I'm not sure, maybe they might regroup, maybe they might push even further. What do you think, Ryan?
I guess the people behind will try to chase, and then hopefully once they regroup, they might hope for some reprieve, a little bit of rest. But that depends on the front group, right? Because if they ease up, they let the rest come back, then they can add the pressure on by pushing hard again. But bear in mind that the first elimination point is only at the end of the 5th lap.
Yep.
Right, so now it's still quite early. Even if they set the breakaway now, there's still time to chase back, to coordinate, an effort together. So as I think we saw from previous races, the breakaway only really went nearer towards the 5th lap itself.
Interesting. So earlier, like the race that Ryan raced in Cat C, it was the first race that we saw the breakaway even happening before the elimination started.
We did go a little hard.
So that they did go a bit high if you watch the replay of Cat C. I don't know whether we're gonna see this again in the Cat D and the ladies wave, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and that offers a little bit of difference depending on the rider's strength, right? If they prefer a long steady effort or they want to do an all spring, bearing in mind that it's like interval training, you do a hard sprint and they have to recover before the next set, you sprint again, right? Especially if it's a very tight group.
Exactly.
And this time, because it's all handled by Training Peaks, if you're really behind, there's no doubt or there's no way to like argue, hey, I wasn't behind, it's too a dead heat. So in this case, if you're behind, then that's it, you're eliminated. And it's not just last, but last two, so it's also sometimes a bit hard in the bunch.
Yeah.
And now a separation now actually.
We see Doreen at the front.
With Diana trying to close the gap.
Yeah.
Right.
So actually Dina, she came in second the previous time. It's all down to a bunch sprint in the series 1. First was Jen the other time, so it'll be interesting to see how will the results turn out actually today.
But I guess there's a slight regroup, and you see halfway through the course there's also a green banner, I think, if you paid attention. So in fact they're coming through this banner right now. This is actually just the halfway point of the lap, so hopefully the riders don't mistake it for the finish line and go too early, and then they just gas themselves out because it's not much further before they reach the actual end of the lap.
Correct, and we look at Doreen, she's still taking it easy. Doreen, she's smiling. I don't know if she's smiling, but looks like she's still going very easy. I think it's gonna be an easy race for her, and then we will see how the rest will do.
So now we are following on board with Javier, right? I think Javier is Grim02 on
Correct.
the leaderboard, and he's currently doing his big contribution, pulling the pack, and it seems like they're all just taking it, nice and steady. They do have a slight separation. I think Chelsea, John, and Rudra are behind.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of buffer because at the first elimination point, it's only 2 who are eliminated.
Correct.
So Chelsea does have a little bit of chasing to do, but the rest at the front, at least for now, they can take it steady, take it easy. Just another Saturday group ride.
Exactly, but I think because this is the first mixed category that we're doing for the day, I think when it comes to a bunch sprint, the girls will definitely be at a disadvantage compared to the guys. So if the girls really want to get it to the end, they probably have to start working together and maybe break away or do something before the elimination starts.
They could even do a long range sprint, long range attack, just
Correct.
to add a little bit pressure, tire the legs out, see the competition and see how it goes.
Yeah, and then now we see actually at the back, Nigel is catching back to the pack. I think he's just slightly behind, just dropping back. His numbers turn red for a while.
Yep,
And
and,
then-
they're all back together again, so
Yeah, taking it easy and slow. And now they will be approaching the banner for the second time to complete the second neutral lap.
yeah. So I guess while we're having a little bit of a steady pace right now, not much happening yet, maybe we can just talk a little bit about the interface for those viewers who are wondering what are the numbers. So you see their current power output at the top, but you also have their average power, their normalized power, and even their max power. So it's also interesting to see some of them are hitting like 800-900 watts. In this case now we're following Jillian, slightly lower peak power, but also with that relative to some of the other heavier guys, they are still able to keep up, and it's quite even because in this case they're all grouped by power in terms of watts per kilo. Yeah. So this is something that even though this course is flat, but at least that evens the playing field a little bit.
Yeah. But then I think it'll be interesting to see because I think now we see that Elvis is slightly behind. He's just 1 second behind. I don't know with that 1 second gap grow a bit more. We'll see how it goes. But it looks like he's back into the pack now.
Yep. They finished 2 laps. They're currently on their 3rd, so it's kind of steady. There's a slight incline, but then again, I'm pretty sure they won't feel it much because it's over before you know it, and then they are again on a downslope. So in fact, if you look at the course profile at the bottom, it's pretty much just up, down, almost. In fact, almost like like just rolling along Mandai, rolling hills, and it's not that significant as well.
Yeah. And actually just now Ryan, so when you ride the course, can you feel the incline?
Not really. You don't feel the incline, but you do feel the descent actually. So if you
Okay.
look at the elevation profile, because the incline is very steady, very I think it's like 1 or 2% only, and then
Yeah.
you're just pushing hard. You're just pushing out the watts. You don't feel like it suddenly hits you.
Yeah.
But when you're going down, suddenly look at your speed, 50, 60. For me at least as a heavier rider, so maybe that's why I have a little bit of additional speed boost. So and that's where actually the rubber banding helps. In my case, it helps. For maybe the lighter riders, that's where they have to, put a little bit of effort just to make sure that they don't get gapped.
Yeah.
Although on the sprint to the line, that's where they can try to recover, push the pace, put pressure on the other riders as well.
Okay, and then now actually we see that there's John and Rudra who is at the back, so they are from VSG Academy, so kudos to them for keeping up so far. I think they will likely be the first 2 that will be eliminated, so the rest of the riders are fairly safe for now.
Yeah, and Chelsea is also if you see in the group 2, I think she's on her own for almost 1 minute back, so that's quite a bit of chasing, but at the same time she's still safe from that first elimination point as well. But the question is whether John can catch up, because I think John is only about 15 seconds behind.
Correct.
Which is, it is a big gap because, in cycling, 2-3 seconds feel like an eternity. But at the same time, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now let's go back to the main pack and see how Jen and friends are actually doing. So they are still going together. So we're approaching the end of the third lap soon.
So I guess we're seeing that, it looks almost like a Saturday group ride. They're taking it slow. Before later, I'm sure all the watt bombs are gonna come out. Everyone's gonna be sprinting, making sure they're not last, and then they're gonna add the pressure, tire the legs out. Yeah.
Yeah. And now I think it looks like they are still probably... Oh, there's some numbers turning red. I think probably because of the climb, is it?
Maybe it's the corner.
It's the corner.
Right, so actually, just before the finish and the last turn, there is this corner which, at least in the previous race, you could take it as, alright, once I hit this corner, I need to sprint out of it, and then
I see.
it's all the way to the line. I think it's about maybe 400-500 meters. Still a little bit far for all sprint, but nonetheless, it's still within range if you were to put in a dig, just to get a sense of whether, other people have the legs to try to follow you, try to, whether they are able to counter, whether they're able, or you can glance across the room and see what's their body language to see, are they suffering, are they taking it easy, just a zone 2 ride, or if they're really going all out, and then that's where you can hopefully try to snap that elastic, right, and then that's where you get the breakaway.
And now as you can see on the screen now we have Jennifer there and Chelsea, okay, together with some of the other riders as well. This is John. And then we have the lady there, Elizabeth Cheng, who is from studying in UK now, but back for the Easter break and trying out virtual cycling for the first time in terms of competition. And then we have Jaden with Gillian at the back. So Gillian is also another strong rider as well. Elvis, this is from VSG Academy, and then on his right is Rudra, who is currently now at the back of the pack, and then followed by the Niger and Javier at the back. So this is the riders that we have for today. See their face.
And I guess the thing to notice from that, right, is that they're all grouped in the same room, so they can actually, if depending on what their own pain level is, they can glance across the room, see what's the body language. Okay, if I put in a dig here, will they be able to follow what's, see how they're responding. Whereas, sometimes, especially if you're racing at home, there's no visual around you. Sometimes you see or you can read the body language, you see someone, they start to exert a little effort, you can anticipate that there is an attack coming as well.
Correct.
Yeah, so I think especially in the later stages of the race, we'll see how that plays out too. Yeah. In fact, we're starting to see again another gap. So we have 9 at the front, alright, and you can see on Training Peaks on the right side, Group 2, Elvis is starting to get a little bit distance. Now it's about 12 seconds behind. He's gonna have to do a little bit of chasing. Chelsea has gone further back, but I think John isn't really making much progress. So I guess it's John and Rudra who are anticipating that they'll be the first to be eliminated come at the end of lap 5.
Correct. So they are not that, there's still some way for them, some distance for them to go for until lap 5, but now we look at this pack itself, do you think anybody will pull off any tactics here, or they will stick together?
I think if anything we might see it in the next lap, because I guess and especially in my race, the logic was that if you got a breakaway, that gave you a buffer. You do a clean rotation, you work together, then you can go and play it out at the end together, right? Rather than having to worry, is someone gonna sprint past me? Is someone going? You have to keep watching and responding to attacks. So you exert now, you get to chill a little bit, right? Not that much because you still want to maintain the gap. But once you disincentivize people from chasing you, then that's where you're safe. Yeah, so we'll see. I think maybe for some of the, I don't know, maybe for those who are a bit heavier sprint, those who prefer a bunch sprint, then it might favor them a little bit to keep the bunch together. But those who maybe prefer a steady TT kind of effort, then it might be good to just add a little bit of pressure, see if anyone's gonna follow. In fact, based on my own memory from last year's national championships, the virtual championships, I think we had a national triathlete, Aaron, who just basically did a TT effort, and he didn't do like a all-out attack. He just slowly added the pressure, increased the wattage, see if anyone followed, and before long there was a 30-second, 1 minute gap ahead. And it was not that noticeable because he just did a steady pace. While everyone was watching each other behind to make sure that the sprint, they didn't get surprised in the sprint.
So now we can see here the riders are still going very strong.
I guess the thing to note, right, is that the ladies are all actually bunched together at the front with the men as well. So I guess good job to the ladies. Don't discount them just because they're ladies. They could just drop the watt bomb on you in an instant. Really a strong field here.
You see Dareen still leading at the front, followed by Grim02 is Javier, and Yiming09 is Elizabeth, going strong now. Gillian, Justin, Jennifer, Dina, and Jaden, and together with Nigel, of course. Still quite a big pack.
still quite a big pack, 9 riders. So I guess that we'll see the party time happen maybe lap 7, 8, 9 towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for now, they're taking things steady. But you do see the pace, I guess because you can see their speeds, I think their pace is increasing just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, nothing too crazy yet. They're not attacking each other, so it's not spicy. But it's starting to put on the pressure, I think, as they are approaching the elimination point. In fact, I think this lap, at the end of this lap, they are going to have the first riders eliminated as well.
Yeah, and then we'll see now actually, I think it'll be interesting to actually see how will the strategy turn out. I foresee that Niger, he can be a strong sprinter because in real life he's quite big size. He just needs to stay with the pack and just beat them at the sprint.
In fact, maybe let's take a look at his numbers. If you just once we switch to his view, just give us a moment while we find him on the leaderboard. Alright, you can see actually his peak power, and maybe that was at the start, when everyone launched from the gate.
Yeah.
Oh, in fact, he does have a gap now. He's 4 seconds ahead.
He's punching.
Yeah, I think he's doing a punch and he's trying to break away. And you can see his peak power 979. That is,
That's quite
a mega bomb.
Yeah.
Right? And his normalized power 250, average 223. That is actually really, really, really high. At least in absolute watts. So yes, he may be a heavier rider, but he can use that as an advantage.
Correct.
Do that one significant punch. And now everyone's chasing. Already is 9 seconds to Justin, who is, I guess, leading the chase. And behind them, or rather, Justin has been collected by the group just behind him. 10 seconds. 10 seconds is quite a big gap as well. And we'll see whether Nigel can sustain that throughout. Yeah, I didn't expect him to go so early. At least not solo. Normally you have a group of 2 or 3, to work together, bring it together. But it's definitely a challenge if he wants to sustain it, because he's just about halfway through the race.
And the other pack can easily just catch back to him.
Yeah, that's if they work together.
That is if they work
If they start watching each other, then that's where they may not be able to catch, because they're focused on, I don't want to be last.
Yeah. And then now Niger is 14 seconds ahead. The rest of the pack, Javier is Grim02, followed by Justin, Yiming. Yiming is Elizabeth, Dina, Jen, Doreen, Jaden, Jillian still together. So it looks like the rest of the pack is still together, but it's just Niger that is at the front.
Yeah, and the question is, how much leeway will they give him, because he can break away now. And the thing is, as long as they catch him before the last lap, before the last elimination lap, right, then that actually makes him work on his own solo for quite some time. So just like how you see in a normal road race, you leave the breakaway hanging, let them work. I mean, yes, they get the exposure, all that, but they also tire themselves out because they don't get the draft effect as well.
Yeah. Maybe now let's go back to the Gen and see how the Gen and friends are doing. So it looks like the gap has come down. Earlier was 14 seconds to Niger, but now it's going to 12. So definitely they are catching back. So I think maybe the effort by Niger might have been wasted.
But then again, that could also just be a test of the legs. So maybe once we see what's his body language like, from a camera inside, we'll see whether we can get any shots from there. But we can see maybe he's just testing the legs, and it happened at the elastic snap, so that's why he has a gap.
Correct.
Maybe his intention is just, see if anyone follows, and then I can save it for later.
Can we take a look at Niger and see how Niger is doing in the roam cam outside? Let's get our camera crew to go and find Niger.
So in the meantime, while the cameras are setting up to go and look for him, you see that he is putting in a steady effort.
Oh, he's dripping wet. He
is putting in the effort. This was not just an
wet.
experimental dig. He meant business.
Yeah, he meant business.
He's serious about it, man.
Yeah.
He's going, head down, focus, locked in, all in.
And maybe now let's go to the girls on the other side and see how the girls are actually doing now. But Niger looks tired. Yeah, Niger looks like
Niger's putting it. Is that Javier behind?
Javier
the shirt's coming off.
Shirt is coming off.
That's where the effort's coming, because the body will generate a lot of heat.
Correct.
And that's the thing, it's air conditioned, you have a fan in front of you, but you don't feel it. And this is the one time, at least in real life, you wish you had a headwind.
Yep, exactly.
When out on the road, you don't want a headwind. Now you want it because you want to cool yourself off. Of course, you don't want it virtually, you want it in real life. Yeah. So that is a challenge, and Nigel is just putting in the watts. You see, just 270, 280.
Yeah.
He's going above the current normalized power. He is putting in quite a dig now.
And in the camera, you should see the lady at the back. That's Jillian. So Jillian is still going strong together with the pack.
Yep.
Yeah, she looks tired.
And it seems that they're holding the gap steady about 10, 11, 12 seconds. Yep. So it's one Niger at the front. You have eight in the peloton behind. All right, and then you have Elvis, Chelsea, John, and Rudra following. So actually, most of the pack, they're on lap 6 now. So actually, we're just waiting for, I think once Chelsea crosses the line to begin lap 6, that's where John and Rudra will be eliminated. So maybe let's take a look at where Chelsea is. You know, and she is approaching the line. I think she's on her own now. A little unfortunate, but I think, you know,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. She's still putting in the effort, you know, putting in the watts. So commendable effort nonetheless.
Yeah.
She does get to go one more round before she faces elimination.
Correct. And
Yeah.
let's go back to the ring. Yeah, so I think they are 11 seconds, 10 seconds
Yeah,
behind
it
Niger.
looks like they're all working together. Doreen currently in the pack, alright, getting a little bit of draft, the shelter.
Yeah.
You can see it actually on the top near of the map, right? The draft effect as well. How much draft they get based on where they are positioned. And in Training Peaks, you do have wind, right?
Correct.
Now it's an 8 km/h wind. Tailwind, in fact, you can see I think the arrow pointing, you know, what's the wind direction, and then the speed of the wind as well.
Yeah, so we look like I think the pack itself has split off 2 riders at the back, which is Grim02, that is Javier, and Jillian08. So I think Jillian might be falling slightly behind. You can see there's a gap forming already.
Yeah. And it seems like they are catching Niger, right? It looks like they're just 4 seconds back, so they've kind of reeled him in. Maybe we'll see whether he can recover and then, you know, put in another dig again. So we have Chelsea and Jillian being eliminated.
Yes, because they have just passed the number 6 lap.
Yes, alright. So Elvis is still
He's
in the
still on
race.
because he haven't finished his lap.
I see.
Yeah, so once he finishes his lap, he'll get eliminated as well.
Yeah, so in this case, it's really based on your position, where you are, and at least, you know, Training Peaks allows you to finish your lap before you're eliminated.
Correct.
So riders do get to, you know, they get to continue pedaling, watch what's going on as well.
Yeah.
Right, so that leaves effectively 8 in the running, right? Even though it shows that there are 9 racers remaining, but we effectively have the top 8. Right, there's Nigel, Dana, Justin, Doreen, Jen, Elizabeth, Javier, and Jaden.
Correct. And now maybe let's go back to Yiming09, who is Elizabeth actually. So I think they are catching back to Niger. I think they are doing very well actually. So Elizabeth, will be interesting to see whether will she actually come out top. I think the Singapore Cycling Federation will be very excited to know that there's a lady interested in competitive cycling but doesn't have the experience or the background, but is still very keen to actually try out.
And she is doing actually pretty well in this case, you know, in the pack. So now actually, if we talk about team tactics, I think we mentioned it at the start, we have quite a big contingent from CTCC, Cycling Training CC, right?
Yeah.
Nigel now putting in a dig, and then his teammate Doreen in the pack. So the question is if Doreen is, you know, there and they catch back to him, right? Which now I think the gap is holding steady around 3 seconds. Could she be the one to counter and then launch another attack from there, right? Or would they be spent trying to catch? Because I think Doreen wouldn't want to be the one chasing down her teammate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, she could prime herself to launch an attack and put even more pressure on the rest. That's where team tactics actually come into play, even though it seems as if everyone is just riding on their own.
Yeah. And then I think we are at 16.2 km now, so the 17.5 is the next milestone. Or actually at top right hand corner, sorry, not 17.5. I think we can see that the banner is counting down actually.
Yeah, so actually if you look at the readout, right, between on the lap counter on the left side, there's actually the distance to the banner, right? So there are about 700 meters left in this lap, and then about just under 8 kilometers to the rest of to the finish of the race.
Who do you think will be eliminated?
Let's see. I mean, Jaden for sure, because he's the one all the way at the back. But now that means, you know, in this current bunch, it's a single sprint, You know, and I think currently Jaden is slightly off the back, so the question is whether he can power pass and time it just right. You know, because everyone's going to be sprinting at the same time. Here they go around the bend, it's just 400 meters. Let's take a look at the Grim 02 Javier. Right, and let's see whether he is able to power past. Right, he is going for it. They are all they are waiting to see, 250 meters to the line. And you see everyone's putting in a dig.
Oh no, Javier is
Come on,
falling
Javier,
behind.
can he do it? Can he do it? You
like...
see he is sprinting, he is pushing. But everyone else is also. So can he close the gap? Right in front of him is Doreen. Okay, and we'll see. And unfortunate.
No,
so
he
is eliminated. But now that means Doreen is in danger, right?
Correct.
Doreen, Jen, Justin, Nigel. In fact, they've closed the gap back. Alright, now they're all together.
Yeah.
Right, and in fact, Dina is the one who's leading the race now.
Yeah, so interesting tactics and what the turnout it has been. So at the start, Nigel is now, he's almost back with the pack already. And Jen, Dina, Justin, Elizabeth who is Eming09 and the race is dropping behind. Maybe let's take a look at Doreen. Right, she's
struggling. She's struggling because though there's probably a thing, and I guess just to a little bit about Doreen, she's probably one of the lightest riders in this field. So this is completely, in that sense, because of the lack of elevation, is kind of stacked against her.
Correct, exactly.
Yeah. But she is definitely with full fighting speed. In fact, she's back in the pack, right? She's not giving up.
Nice.
She is not.
Well done, Doreen.
Letting that small gap.
But now it's Elizabeth that is at the back. So Eming09 is Elizabeth.
I think we talked about it earlier, right? Now is where all the tactics come out. Who's going to put in a dig? Who's going to counter? Who's going to put pressure on the opponents? And that is where maybe they're looking at each other in the room, maybe, right? Unfortunately, in the commentary booth where
we can't see them.
Correct. But we can see some camera action. When our camera crew shows who is, what was it like in the room, and they may be looking at each other, seeing what's the body language. Should I put in a dig? Are they struggling? Are they taking it easy? And whether to save it for the end or put in early. Now they still have like 1 kilometer left in the lap. So who is in danger? We are looking at Justin's in the lead, Doreen second, Jen, Dina, Nigel, and Eming. So now Eming, or rather Elizabeth, having dropped, we're looking at perhaps Nigel is in danger.
Yep.
Right. Currently, based on the current positions, but we are still slightly under 1 kilometer to go. Yeah. Let's put it Jen. Yeah. So you can see a tight bunch, 5 of them all rotating together. So it's a matter of who is going to just unfortunately be at the back. Yeah, it's about 700 meters from the line.
Yeah.
The wind is slightly easing off 6 kilometers per hour, but it's gonna be a tailwind sprint.
Who do you think it's gonna be?
I think Nigel has it in him to have a
final sprint
dig, right? But it looks like is someone putting a dig in now. Nigel is going for it.
Nigel is going
right?
for it. Yeah.
He's putting on the pressure. 500 meters to go. 500 meters to go. It might be a little early, all right. But then again, he has the watts to put pressure on the rest, and then if that tires out the rest of the field, then they may not be able to launch a full-out sprint. So that might actually help his teammate Doreen, right? But now Doreen is off the back.
So one rider from this pack will be eliminated.
Yes, and now the question is, does Doreen have it in her to sprint, right? Sprint past Justin.
I think Nigel shouldn't have launched because Doreen is a smaller size. She won't be able
or maybe if he did it a little earlier, right?
Or
he could help to lead out Doreen as well.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, I think Doreen is on the receiving end of the elimination.
So we have Doreen and Elizabeth that will be eliminated. Elizabeth will be eliminated once she passed the banner.
Okay, so we're now down to our top 4. Alright, currently it still shows that Elizabeth is still racing, but that's because she's yet to complete her lap. And just to share a little bit about my race, alright, that's where, initially in the race brief, we said it would be a top 3 sprint to the finish. Unfortunately, I thought that would be true, but it became a top 2 because there was, one less rider.
Correct, exactly.
So it's a matter of them now making sure that, they time their sprint, their positioning correct, and In fact, I think now they're all independent. They don't have any teammates in this bunch. So Justin is falling back a little bit. Now there's 2 second gap, and then the question is between Nigel, Dina, and Jen, right? Who are all actually listed as favorites to win the race.
Correct.
You know, who will be eliminated? Oh, Justin is catching back, so that means out of this bunch of 4, there will be 2 who will be eliminated. And it seems like they're all looking at each other now. You see the speed has come down. Now they're looking 20 plus kilometers per hour. You know, out in the real world, you'll be like 30 plus, it's sometime, right? But no,
this
right?
is not at all.
The tension is there. They're all getting ready to see who is going to launch it, who is going to send it. Yep.
Correct.
And they're just counting down. There's 1.6 kilometers to the line. Yeah. Before they do a final sprint to the line. So in this race, it will be a 2-up sprint. Alright. So even if you're gonna be eliminated this lap, right, you're still in the fight for 3rd.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then now we see that they are. I don't know if they are punching or it's just a downhill. No, it's just.
I think it's a bit of a downhill, but this is where they finish half the lap. So 1.2 left to go. Yep. On screen, this is Dina, right?
Yes, on screen is Dina.
Yeah, laser focus. I think she's waiting and watching to see, see when they're gonna launch a sprint. So we have 2 men, 2 ladies, right? So we said don't discount the ladies just because they're lighter, they have less absolute watts, but they can still hurt you by putting in that dig at the right time, And the field here is insanely strong.
I think Niger should be almost at the empty tank already.
He has put in quite a number of digs. he has put in quite a number of efforts, right? Or maybe he's just sheltering, just waiting to unleash that 900 watts again, and then dust off the opponents. So 700 meters, we're coming close to the point where they're going to start sprinting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be very interesting.
And as much as we said that you don't feel the upslope, it is actually an upslope sprint.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's where if you just react a little bit too slow, it might be hard to close the gap.
Yeah. And now we're looking at a camera, Dina and Jennifer Choi.
Yeah, Jen just laser focus, with just waiting in anticipation. So they're rounding the corner now, 400 meters to go, and who is going to put in the dig? Right, Nigel. Here it goes. Nigel is going. You see, he is not taking chances. He is taking the early dig, and guaranteeing for him the top 2. Right, Justin is following Dina and Jen. Let's follow Jen. Come on, let's see.
Okay, they are overtaking Justin. I think they are overtaking Justin.
Will Justin get taken at the line? Justin's getting taken. Oh no!
Oh my god!
So let's go and let's see. Oh,
we have Nigel and Jen.
So the last 2 survivors, Nigel and Jen, top 2 favorites, right, to take this win. Let's go, and now it's gonna be all out. Last 2.3 Ks to the line.
Yeah. So well done, Justin. Well done, Dina.
Yeah.
Good effort.
That was mad strong. It came down to a bunch sprint, right at the line. Alright, and now the last 2. So now the question, right? I would say maybe Jen is more well known as a time trial specialist.
Yep.
And in this case, and I guess we can see that Nigel has perhaps a stronger sprint, absolute sprint with the watts, right? But Jen, of course, don't discount her 666 watts peak so far, and I'm pretty sure she probably has a little bit more in the tank, right? And let's take a look at Nigel on screen, right? Still 979 peak wattage, so it's going to come down.
I think they're just playing cat and mouse now. I think if Jen wants to go, she has to go now.
So now the question is, who is going to go first? This is the lowest absolute speed you'll see in any race, but that's because they have that luxury. They don't have a pressure of a chasing pack now.
Correct.
Right? So it's just a matter of looking at each other, who recovers earlier, who wants to put in that dig.
Yeah.
1.7 Ks to go. The question is, launch it and hold to the end, and hope that the other person just can't overtake you, or keep it together, just watch each other and then go. So in most road races, when you reach this situation, you have a chasing pack, so you can't go too slow. But now you can take it easy. There's no pressure. All right. There's no time cut. So it's a matter of who goes first, who reacts, who holds off the opponent. Right. And I guess the fun thing is that they are opposite ends of the room, so it's also a little bit hard to see each other, to see what's their
Correct.
body language.
So we are 1.3 km more to go. They are playing cat and mouse.
Yeah, and our camera operator is having a workout too, walking back and forth to see what are they, how are they like.
Yeah.
So Jen's positioning a little bit behind, sheltering a bit, letting Nigel do the work. But then the question is, can Nigel just put down the power?
Yeah.
Last 1k to go, and
Who's your bet
gonna
on?
see. I have a feeling if it's gonna be a sprint, Nigel's gonna take it. But if it's a slightly longer range dig, maybe Jen has it in her to just put that initial dig to make Nigel respond. So the question is, who is going to launch first?
Yes.
Right, and now we see here the red banner, the 1k to go.
Yeah.
Right, the Flamme Rouge.
I think it will be interesting. I think
There is tight anticipation.
I think if Jen don't go by 800, it will be Nigel. I think.
I think Jen's biggest chance is if she launches early and forces Nigel to use his sprint first.
Correct.
But if Nigel gets to initiate, then Jen might not be able to respond to absolute watts, because
Yeah.
in this case
17 watts.
they're really playing and watching each other.
Yeah.
Right? They really want to see what's going. They don't want to. They don't want to be the first one to go.
Yeah.
Alright, so now the question is, who gets to
Go first.
goes first?
This is exciting.
It's almost like it's no, you first.
Yeah.
Competitive niceness.
Yes.
Letting the other one go first. But that is the tactics in cycling. You don't want to be the first one to blink. The first one to blink, you have to hope that the person behind doesn't have it in them to respond.
Correct.
Oh,
I think it's
it looks
getting
like they're starting to put in a bit of power. Jen is starting to put in a bit of pressure. 500 meters to go.
Oh, Nigel
can
is
she-
going. Nigel
Is going.
Nigel is going.
Nope, it seems that they're still holding it steady. They rounded the corner. 400.
Oh.
400 to go, and they're sprinting. So Nigel's
Oh,
launching.
oh.
He is going. Show the camera, show the camera. Right, you can
Alright.
see it. Full sprint, power. Can Jen sustain it to the line?
Alright.
Nigel hitting over 1,000 watts.
Yeah.
Right, and he's starting to get
And
the gap, and
he-
he is going through to the finish, and he has taken it.
Yeah. So well done, Nigel.
Well done, Nigel. Well done,
Jen.
Jen. Right,
Yeah.
both of you. Let's take a look at Jen's power. No, just get on Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can see
Jen-
they're both spent. They have
Jen
did
is
absolute. Right, I'm sure Nigel's feeling the same way. They did not leave anything in the tank.
Yeah.
Alright, and let's see. Even for Jen, still hitting the peak 666 watts. Wow, it's an absolute watt bomb.
beast.
Right,
Absolute
both of them
beast.
absolute beasts, just putting it on the watts.
Yeah, but I think that was interesting. A nice way to end up the last race for today.
Yeah, definitely. Right, exciting, down to the line. Them watching each other. Yeah. So, Ijin, what are your thoughts? How did the race play out? How you expected it to go?
I think it played out quite well. So I think the truth is we were expecting more participants, but because there's a Taiwan race that the whole Matador team is actually going, so that they're not here. Otherwise, I think it get even more exciting. We wanted to do a 1-by-1 elimination as well. Yeah, but I think it is what it is. But all of us, we had great fun today.
Yeah, I think across the races, you see varied tactics, early breakaways, keeping it as a bunch, sprinting to the end, down to this one, 2 up, really sprint, 2 different rider profiles, going for it at the line.
Yeah.
Right, I think definitely it's been quite exciting today.
Yes.
Right, it's now I guess as they're spinning down, as they're cooling off.
Correct.
I think we can all congratulate everyone for a massively good job.
Yeah, so thank you for tuning in. So we'll see you guys next time. So this is Ryan from Draft Punk, and then I'm Ijun. So nice to see you all, and have a good weekend ahead. All right.
All right, thanks for listening
Thank
to
you.
us.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you next time.
See you. All right.